We're gonna shift gears to our regular programming here. And Sid, I'm gonna throw it over to you for a minute here.
Right, where were we? Oh yes, I'm quite interested in one thing, and that is, but does anybody have favorite poems that they wouldn't mind sharing and that they are prepared to read? And it doesn't matter how terribly you think you're going to read it. And we've had one or two over the months, but I'm just going to drop that in there in case someone does come up with something and wants to read it, because I'm kind of feeling in a kind of the vibe of poetry now. I'm normally not that excited by it, but somehow being secluded has kind of made it somehow more available to it. And I was super inspired by that young person who read her poem during the presidential inauguration. But it's not for me to read. It's really just for you, because your voice is actually the thing that makes it interesting. Anyway, let's jump in.
We have a birthday to celebrate today. Anna is celebrating her birthday and would like an international birthday shout out.
Oh, you get one.
You want another language. Feliz cumpleaños.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
Birthday!
Happy
birthday!
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
I'm one of the handful of people who are really scared. So I've been here since March and I never dared sign up.
Oh,
oh my gosh, it's my birthday, I must. So
you've got to. I'm really glad you plucked up the courage. And
great.
And
Anyway,
who have you got with you? Who's there?
My daughters, she's 10, and my oldest daughter, she's 14 years old.
It's lovely to meet you all. What a pleasure. Well, happy birthday, Mom.
Thanks. They understand English fine, but they don't speak it really well.
No, we're not going to test them. They're not going to be challenged.
That's fine.
What language do you speak really well?
I can speak Dutch.
We're in the Netherlands, so English was actually my first language, but I stopped using it as a child. I didn't need it, and then I forgot, and now it's horrible.
Sounds pretty good to me. It sounds pretty good to me.
Anyway, and also my oldest daughter wanted to ask you the question, do you have your sewing machine yet, and how is it going?
No, I do have a
Oh, you really do?
machine is now in the house, and I am ashamed to tell you, never got to it. I have never opened it up and started to figure out what to do and how to thread the needle and start. And I really wanted to. I wanted to do it on film so everybody could see. And you know what?
No, I understand. It's really hard, really. She has a sewing machine because she followed a 10-lesson course and liked it a lot. So I bought her one. I think, well, okay, just go ahead and do it. And but it's hard. She's been doing. Do you want to show? She's making baby clothes in here. It's a little pant.
Oh my goodness, look at that.
And a hat.
That's fantastic.
So
that's
if she can.
That's so talented. Oh, you sewing is one of the most important things. It's like cooking. Everyone should know how to sew. I mean, that's why I started. I mean, I thought, yeah, we all.
But it's really hard to teach yourself. So I don't know. It's even watching YouTube films. It's hard. So
I think if I had the courage to get a teacher, maybe I'd have to find an online one. Then I would be committed. But I just never got round to doing all the things I needed to do to make that happen.
Exactly, and we don't find the time. So I've been thinking, well, now I've got time to draw some more and do some painting, and I've really been doing nothing. But I am working, so it's not as if I've got a lot of extra time.
How is it juggling work and home and everything?
I'm exhausted, but I'm usually exhausted, so that's nothing new.
And are your hours sporadic? Are they flexible, or do you have a structure?
I have a few things. I work at a local store. It's a bit more flexible right now. And then the other job I do is to visit elderly people who need compression stockings.
Right.
And just to help them put them on, and at night take them off. And that's really very flexible. So every month we get to decide when we're available for work. And
most of elderly people quite alone.
really alone. It's tough. It's tough. It was maybe worse the first lockdown, when also their children would really not visit them and maybe bring the groceries, put it on the doorstep, and then go back and wave. And I saw a lot of tears during that time, and it was Easter then, and they're used to just spending time with family. Or also, pedicures weren't able to come. They hadn't the people cleaning for them, they wouldn't be able to come. So it was really just me for 5 minutes. I'm in a home only for like 5 to 7 minutes, and then do the thing and go away.
That must be hard.
That was the only social thing they had, and yeah, that was really sad. Some had it hard, had it tough. So
yeah, it must be just so hard because they must not want you to leave.
no, and I tried, we tried to stay human as possible, and just, we've got a time issue, so you've got to go. But really, there are some of them that just want to chat a bit, and also we're there to not only do the stockings, but check up on them. So if you notice, do they have enough food? How are they caring for themselves? Just the social aspect is also one of the things. And of course, healthcare isn't just physical. So,
gosh.
But they're really cool people. I love working with elder people.
It's really wonderful that you do, because goodness, can you imagine how alone they'd be if nobody came?
Everyone's just waiting for the vaccine. They just want to get it over with. And
say you pay?
And I don't really do that much. I draw some things, and I haven't in a while. I got some out just to see. I like doing fantasy figures and that kind of thing. So I've got one here that I had done a long time ago. I don't know if you can see anything.
Oh yeah. Oh my goodness. Yes, absolutely. That's beautiful. That's exquisite.
I was working on this mermaid, and I don't know, can you see anything?
Yeah. That reminds me of like late 19th century. Oh God,
It's like Mucha.
I can't remember the name of it. There's a particular name.
There's a Czech artist called Mucha, who is art deco.
That's it. It's the nouveau
Exactly.
deco.
Exactly. I love that. And then I have to show. They said I have to show this. It's an etching. Is it called an etching?
Mm-hmm.
So you scratch it in a piece of plastic, and then you put it in on a roll printer. I don't know what you call it. Yeah, I did this for.
Oh wow, that's also exquisite.
So that's the things. Oh, can I tell you an embarrassing story? Since I thought I should. It's okay because I was 9 or 10 at the time. I can tell this story. So my brother, I have an older brother, and he used to force us to watch anything that he liked to watch, which was also Star Trek. So we watched Star Trek with the entire family, and then I know that was the Next Generation. Then he said, "There's a new one coming on, it's Deep Space Nine, so we're going to watch it." And I remember really not liking that. So why do we don't need to replace this? And I don't want to. But anyway, I liked it a lot, and I really liked Sheer a lot. So then when I was 10, I think 10 years old, right? I went to my sister, and I had decided that we were getting married, Dr. Bashir and I. And I went to her room and said, I'm getting married. 5 minutes, okay, you're invited, come to my room. And so I went and waited there, and she didn't show up. So after a while, well, you can't just sit and wait forever, so I did. get married. We got married, and then I got a little upset with her later. So why weren't you there? I mean, you're my sister. You missed my wedding. Okay. And she was just laughing, like, what, you were serious? What were you doing? Really getting married in your room? Yes, I told you, I invited you.
That is so cool.
So that's what happened. And it stayed a sort of joke later when I really got married. Then they were all saying, no, how can you get married? You're already married, don't you remember? So,
Well, you dodged a bullet there. You got the right one instead of the doctor. This very sweet. That's really sweet. That's incredibly nice. What do you look forward to?
that I'd love to be able to go traveling, which I haven't done very much. My father was a Turkish man from a small mountain village. I had been to Turkey for doing like tourist things,
Yeah.
but never really visited where he came from. And then he lived here in the Netherlands and then got sick when he was older, and he got Parkinson's disease and decided the last year of his life that he wanted to go back, which I was a little bit worried about. But then when he got there, it was perfect for him because he just didn't really fit in here. And he was so happy at the end to see the mountains. And I had visited him once, but he was very ill and couldn't really walk anymore. When he was dying and he was doing really bad, and then I was pregnant with the youngest, and I couldn't, very pregnant, so I couldn't get in an airplane.
Yeah.
And then later we heard from some friend that he had died and been buried, because it all gets done in
Very
24
quickly.
hours.
Absolutely.
Yeah. A year after that happened, I went with my brother. It was so amazing. That trip was great because I had a lot of family. We have like, I don't know how many cousins, and everyone's a relative. They took us to the villages and we met so many people. But it was so amazing because I wasn't used to having family, because my Dutch family is very small actually. So we connected really. It was amazing, and they were totally friendly and loving and warm, and
it's a lovely country. I was there.
Yeah, definitely hospitable. That was really cool to see where he was from and the house that he grew up in. It's really primitive there, very poor people.
Yeah.
Well, I had gone there and that was great, but I really want to take the children once because I was
love it.
Yeah.
There's so much going on there. I mean, there's so many. The beaches are beautiful and the mountains are amazing, and then in the middle of the country there are these ancient caves that people used to, ancient
It's amazing. I love Turkey. It's really beautiful.
But thank you, all three of you. Thank you for coming on. You're lovely.
Thank you so much. Everyone's always saying it, but really, I've been having a lot of fun every Friday, just sitting and listening to everyone being really wonderful. And I don't care what you talk about. It's just fun.
And I apologize profoundly for not coming up to our wedding. I'm a bit embarrassed. That was rude.
So, no. No.
10-year-old Anna her heart was broken.
Yeah.
We are going to go talk with another youngster. If Evie is still awake.
Yep.
You are awake. Hi, it's good to see you again. I think we talked, didn't we? We talked before.
Yeah.
It's lovely to see you. You look like you're in the movie Tron. Where are you? What's the design?
It's the holodeck.
It's the holodeck. Is it the naked holodeck?
Yeah.
Very cool. That's very cool. How are you, Evie?
I'm okay.
What are you up to? What's going on? Are you back at school?
No, I'm not back at school. My school's I'm in secondary school. I've been doing my work from home and it's not easy.
No, it's really hard. It's really hard because you need someone there, like a teacher, to push you, to keep the ball
Yeah.
rolling. And it's really difficult when you're just by yourself in your room or just with your mum or your dad. And I totally sympathise. That's really hard. Are you enjoying it? Have you finding ways to enjoy it?
I enjoy it, but I'm not enjoying it at the same time. It's weird.
It is weird. I mean, this is like a big chunk of your life now. You've spent doing something else.
Yeah.
It ruined your end of primary school, didn't it? Because primary school's supposed to be all about the last year. She's supposed to have celebrated and
lots of hugs and cuddles with everyone. And
so the last 6 months of her primary school, her school was shut, and then it's been closed off and on through the start of your secondary school as well, hasn't it? So it's been a hard transition for you, hasn't it?
Do you ever imagine that you have a holosuite?
Kind of. Like, in my mind, I imagine my room to be like the holodeck.
Yeah, it can be anywhere you want, anytime you like.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna ask you what you imagine because that should be just for you. It's your own personal thing. But I'm really glad you do that because that's a fun thing to do. As actors do that because that's kind of how we kind of get to be in places when we know where we've got a big camera in front of us and we're somewhere where we're not, sitting behind a green screen or in front of a green screen. We have to just turn the holodeck in our minds on and put ourselves somewhere. But I like that. I like that idea. That holodeck needs filling out with something every now and then, but I do like it empty. I like it. I like the naked holodeck as well. What's your favorite meal?
Trying to get you to eat food's a nightmare. Go on, pick something.
You must have a favorite. You must be like, you know what? It doesn't matter what time or what I'm feeling like. I always like to eat this thing. It doesn't have to be nutritious. It's just whatever you think. Oh, I love that. I always love that.
We've got an Italian restaurant close, and the pizza they do there's amazing.
There you go. Well, James is going to have to get you pizza every single day now.
You eat enough pizza.
Well, I like my pizzas with very thinly sliced ham and mushrooms, very thinly sliced. Probably don't like mushrooms, do you? I didn't like mushrooms when I was your age. Isn't that weird? I didn't like mushrooms. I didn't like onions. I didn't like celery. And I don't care what anybody did to it. If they stuck it in food, even they said, my mummy always just say, but it's cooked. We've cooked it. You can't notice it. And I said, I can taste it. I can taste it. Same thing with alcohol in puddings, in dessert. I couldn't stand anyone who put alcohol in a dessert or a chocolate. Why would you ruin a perfectly good chocolate by putting rum in it? I sympathize. I sympathize. I do like celery now, though. Yeah, your tastes will grow. They'll change, even though that the idea horrifies you. So what's your dad up to?
Not a lot, really.
Sitting in his office.
Chilling.
Yeah, recording radio.
Yeah, not a lot, really.
No.
Can go back to work. That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah. What's work?
I teach first aid to companies, and I'm an EMT at large events. But
wow,
there aren't none at the moment. So
work, of course, there's nothing going on there to help with that.
No, so I'm sat at home. It's
what do you do to cheer yourself up?
I see what's on sale on Steam, and then I play that for a bit, and then I make a really good use of my Netflix subscription.
Yes. Oh, what's your favorite thing on telly, on the TV?
Go on, what's yours at the moment?
We've found a new program called Fate that's quite good.
Yeah, that's the Winx Chronicles, isn't it? That's just come on Netflix. How would you describe it?
It's not Harry Potter, but they've gone into a school of magic.
But they're all fairies, aren't they?
Yeah, and it's like
cool.
It is really good, isn't it?
Yeah.
We started watching that today, didn't we?
Yeah.
Sounds really good.
So we
Okay.
figured out there was no way you could do PE over Zoom. So instead of that, we watched telly instead.
Yeah. How do you keep fit?
We've got Just Dance. We've got Just Dance 2021.
Oh, that's really good. That is exhausting. How do you manage? Do you keep up with that, James?
Well, you did better than I did earlier on,
Yeah,
didn't you?
you ended up on the floor.
I learned this afternoon that I'm not built for Cossack dancing, didn't I?
Yeah.
What's
No.
the matter with you? Everyone can Cossack dance. That's really funny. I don't think I can Cossack dance either. I would end up on my rear end in a big old heap. My kids used to call me, when they saw me ice skating, they just burst out laughing because they thought I was a giraffe on ice skates. I'm all legs up to my chin. And they're like, what do you look? You look so gangly. Get off the ice. What? I saw that. I saw that question arrive. I saw something arrive and then it kind of went swallowed back down again.
You wanted to ask something then, didn't you?
No.
No?
It was, I wanted to tell you something, but my brain just went, I can't do it.
Go on.
You can. If you feel like it. You don't have to.
I'm writing a fan fiction.
Brilliant. Oh my goodness. How much have you written?
I've only done the first scene at the moment.
That's amazing. Can you read it to us one day?
One day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a really
Probably
good
once
idea.
the first episode's finished.
I would love that. I mean, that is such a cool thing. That's hard work because you've got to think about all the elements, what people do and what they say to each other. How do you do that?
I don't know.
Well, like all great artists, it just arrives, just inspiration.
You had a really good idea about Dax, didn't you?
Yeah.
Because she's a big Dax fan. When we were at Star Trek, Destination Star Trek, wasn't it?
I dressed up as Jadzia.
Right, quite right.
I think that was the year that we actually met you.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, that was the forgettable part.
But when she went and met Terry, it was really quite funny because she's just stood there with a piece of paper and Terry's talking to her and she's going, and just didn't say a word.
We will have to go back. We'll have to get her back, and you're just going to have to screw up your courage and just get into a big old chinwag with her, because you know that she's really easy to talk to. She'll talk with pretty much anybody that she thinks friendly.
She was lovely with you, wasn't she?
Well, I'm really looking forward to even just a snippet of your fan fiction. You don't have to read it all. Even just a little snippet, like give us a taster one day.
I know what the first episode's called. Save the Trill.
Oh, good title. I kind of know what's going to happen. At least that's what I want to happen, which is actually a really good way of titling something.
My brain at the moment's thinking of things and I don't know what my brain's doing.
Well, brain just take over. That's what we were talking a bit like that about that today, and Nana was talking about it, about flow. You just let it go and enjoy the writing. And you've also got loads of people who give you loads of advice because they're all brilliant writers here.
Well, I can tell you that Dr. Bashir's involved in the...
I should hope so. Otherwise, I don't want to hear it.
It was just the first Star Trek Doctor that popped into my head.
Oh, that makes complete sense. I'm loving talking to you. It's been really lovely talking to you. But you are enchanting, young lady.
Brilliant. Thanks very much, Sid.
What an excellent dad you are.
Thanks, James, for letting her stay up late.
That's all right. It's 10 o'clock, time to go to bed.
That's it. Finally, we're going to talk with Rob Moriarty.
Ah, Rob.
It's been a while since we've checked in with old Rob.
Hello, how are you, sir?
I'm not bad, thank you. How are you?
Very good indeed, thank you. It's excellent. Excellent work on the entertainments. That was terrifically put together and coordinated, I believe, by you.
Oh, yes, the holiday special. Yes, that was a labor of love. That was 59 minutes of pleasure and 3 minutes and 47 seconds of absolute torture.
It was brilliant.
I'm talking about.
It was brilliant, my friend. It really was good.
Yeah, I think it's probably taken me until about this week to finally stop singing that blooming karaoke song when I wake up.
It was funny. It was cacophonous, I think is the word.
Well, I said to Mel, there's this theory in music. I think it's called harmonic dissonance, where if you want to hear like a particular note and you keep hearing the same 5 notes around it, eventually you'll start hearing that note. So I like to think the fact that everyone was so off and so out that by the end of it, you actually started hearing what you wanted to hear.
I loved it. Yeah, no, I thought it was actually. I didn't think it was that out of tune. I thought it was pretty good.
I think everyone helped each other, because if you listen to ones individually, they were awful.
That's nice.
I don't hold back. I call a spade a spade.
No, you do. You do. Yeah. How are you, my friend?
I'm not too bad. I think like everyone, I've had my kind of ups and downs over the last few months. I had a really bad dip probably towards the end of October. I kind of pulled myself back out. You know, like everyone else, kind of listening in on this club really helped. So, but I think other than that, I've just been incredibly busy. If it's either with the NHS work that I told you about last time, or some strange person called Mel suddenly saying, "Hey, you offered to do some editing. Well, here's 65 videos for you."
Mel is good at that. If nothing else, she's very good at delegating.
It's enjoyable because it's really good fun kind of going back and watching some of the old clubs and kind of seeing where all the kind of threads come in. And I almost do it for therapy, really. It's good fun.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I've missed you. We haven't talked for a very long time.
I know it's probably been a couple of months since we had a chat. So yeah, I've just been incredibly busy and behind the scenes and desperately trying to talk to you whenever you mention cricket to someone else and they've gone, nope, we don't like that.
What about Joe Root? Hey, yesterday, not too bad. Not too bad.
I'm not waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning for it, but I am watching at least half.
Yeah, I can't see any of it here. So it's all totally out of kilter. I can listen to it on the BBC, on the wireless. I love the word wireless for radio. My grandmother used to say the word wireless. Oh, I'll listen to it on the wireless, she'd say. You know what? Now it really is the wireless. We're back to wireless again. Yeah. So I say saying wireless works. I was about to ask you, so what's going on with your NHS work?
At the moment, there are so many.
If you don't know, the NHS is the National Health Service in Great Britain.
There's been so much work over the last 8 months. I think the number of groups that I've been involved with has actually just gone onto its second side of A4. I think I've been involved in about 40, maybe 50 different groups, all different kind of policies, work streams, that kind of thing.
What's exciting you at the moment? Because there must be some progress.
I think probably the most important one at the moment is actually the COVID vaccine group. I'm actually one of the 2 voices of kind of lived experience representing people. There's quite a lot of care home representation on there because I think of all the bad news that we're getting at the moment, there's some quite good news in the UK with the number of people that were actually getting vaccinated.
Yeah, I think so I hear.
We just went over 11 million today. We're doing about 500,000 a day. I've been trying to represent the voice of the little people and people kind of employing their own PAs to make sure that they get put into the priority groups.
Is there pushback against that, or is that just going to work out?
No, they actually got put into the second group, so they should be being done right about now. And in fact, my PAs have all been contacted pretty much this week to get their vaccines done. But then when they've turned up at the vaccine centres, they've said, "Where's your NHS ID?" and been turned away. So I've been having to feed that back to the group very quickly and say, people who are privately employed, they don't have ID. So you need to find ways around that. So it's kind of trying to get that message back to them as quickly as possible so they can actually do something about it.
How are your PAs? I've never been introduced to them, I don't think.
Well, there's one kind of sat alongside me. I don't know whether she'll be brave enough to say hello, but she's kind of witnessed a few of the clubs over the months. You can normally tell when she's ever here because I can keep up with the chat because she can actually type pretty quickly for me.
Oh, brilliant you are. Well, you can just put a hand in and wave if you want. If you don't have to. We don't force anybody to show that. There you are.
She's currently taking care of cats. They obviously take higher priority over me.
Probably, yeah. On balance.
Yeah, no, the job advert for one of my PAs says that they're PA to 2 cats first, and then very occasionally me if I can get a word in edgeways.
I'd love to ask her lots of questions about you, but I know she'd it'll be very difficult for it to be honest.
She's contractually obliged to say that I'm the best employer in the world.
Exactly.
Any truth in it? It's a Simon Cowell type contract.
What's you're watching? You can't watch the cricket. You're not a soccer fan.
I can actually, because it's on Channel 4 at the moment.
Oh, you get highlights.
No, full thing.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they don't show it in the States, unfortunately. It's just not on the radar. I mean, I don't blame them. It's a pretty hard sport to pick up.
Well, I am still going to do that video for you at some point, but I think it's become a bit of a running joke in the club that they keep on giving me editing work, so I can't get around to doing it.
Yeah, no, there's no rush, because believe me, we know you've been inundated with work.
I will get around to it at some point. I will.
I want to know, the vaccine is one of the important focus groups that you're helping with. What else is up there on the list of really important things? Because a lot of things that should be prioritized are now obviously on the back burner because of vaccinations and other COVID related issues. So what has been sort of demoted that you went, we were nearly there?
The main one really has been the work that I've done over the last 3 years all around personalized care. The kind of the benefit that I've had from a package that really kind of looked at me rather than just a list of problems, actually looked at what I wanted to do with my life and, being able to work and kind of focusing on me as a whole person rather than just someone needing 24-hour care, that kind of thing. That's very much kind of been on pause. It's not completely stopped, but I think whilst they've had these kind of priorities, it's been, as they say, on hold. It will get going again, but it's obviously been on hold whilst they're in kind of crisis mode, really.
And what's the difficulty? What's the problem negotiating this? What makes it like? Because it seems like a no-brainer to me.
It's literally resources. Everyone's being rediverted to COVID at the moment, and the response to it. Their jobs are being changed. All of those sorts of things. They're literally just focusing on COVID and nothing else.
Right, I see. So when this is over, inshallah, you'll be back in the saddle on that one, and making sure that people like yourself have the same attention as you're getting, because it's life-changing.
But I think what I have enjoyed certainly over the last 10 months is that before all of this really kicked off, they wanted to hear about our stories and how that kind of, they could learn from that and kind of benefit others. Whereas now we're very much kind of using our experiences really to kind of directly influence policy. And so they're not actually asking about the stories as much. And so actually it's quite an exciting and different way of working. So I'm not having to go out and tell my story 20 times in a year or something like that, which can get quite boring at some point.
Well, not for people listening to it. I mean,
no, but it is. I can imagine what it's like being a comedian, where you've got to go out and do the same material night after night after night after night after night. It's getting quite repetitive. I just have to hope that the same person hasn't been in, my presentation once or twice, because then they'll hear it.
Well, it's a kind of activism that really is important. But what's really cool is that it seems like people are beginning to listen and pay attention, because we've been talking a bit about in the club, we've had a couple of snippets of conversations about disabilities and what's going on and what's changing, and I was trying to explain how England is like, this has been on the radar for a very long time in Britain. It's only just really getting a proper rollout, proper political presence. People campaign on it. I just went through a presidential election here in the States. I don't think anyone even mentioned the word disability. I don't think it came up on the list of priorities for politicians. I might be wrong, but in my head, simply not a factor. It's just not even on the list.
Yeah, if you wait for a couple of weeks, I think Jackie and I will be coming back and doing a little presentation thing talking about that and kind of comparing what it's like in the US and the UK from a disability point of view. You might have more questions then.
Yeah, I mean, I know there's hope in the States, because there's hope now that there's someone who can actually drive a car driving the car. No offense to people who love, a crazy person driving the car, but it's relaxing to know that the person driving can actually use the indicators and stuff. Things like that are really important, and maybe this will get the attention it deserves over here as well, because my goodness, if it happens in the States, I'm learning, the world it's easier for it to happen everywhere, and because it just becomes a kind of, the States are doing it.
It's been started in the UK, certainly in the last 3-4 years, and that it is changing. It's not going to change very quickly, but it's changing in the right direction. So it's
nothing changes quickly, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
Talking about it is what gets it going, instead of waiting for some tragedy and then responding.
Yeah, well, I think that's where kind of going out, and even if it's kind of sharing a snippet of my story, as many of us have done, there's a massive group of about 20 of us kind of working with NHS England. We might just tell a little snippet of our story, but someone might just hear a little bit of it and kind of go, I can do something about that. And then 2-3 months later, they'll come back and say, we've managed to change that because of listening to what you've said. It only takes, a small group of people to actually do that to start making a difference.
You're an activist, precisely. And that's
in some ways, yeah, but we rather than kind of campaigning, we work alongside them rather than just saying, everything's rubbish.
But that's like soft activism, but it still is. It's just as valuable, and maybe it's an evolution of. You needed activists to pave the way, for this dialogue to begin. But my goodness, it's really important, and there are lessons to be learned from you about how to soft pedal some of these things that instead of hard pedal them, and still be effective. But you've got to, you stand on the shoulder. We all stand on the shoulders of giants who have, pretty nearly laid down their lives for us to get to the point where we can actually discuss this face to face with politicians.
Yeah, absolutely.
I wish you huge luck with the next set, with the two sides of A4 of all the groups that you're pioneering. Thank you for doing what you do. I mean, that's profound and wonderful.
No, that's quite all right. No, I'll say thank you to you, because in the little free time that I get, I don't know if you've noticed the rather deliberate product placement that I've got going on behind my left shoulder, but I've been making my way through some of the recipes that you recommended from the kimchi and curry book.
Isn't it? It's a lot of work. It's involved, but my goodness, it's good.
I've got to say, I'm by no means an expert chef, and I've got some PAs that could burn water given half a chance. We did try the miso chicken a couple of weeks ago, and either it didn't work or the PA didn't work. I'm not sure which.
Well, anytime you need a tip, I'll give it to you.
It could have been that I didn't have a pressure cooker, so we were kind of making it up on the timings a bit.
Yes, the pressure cooker is kind of important. Otherwise, it just gets tough.
It was just that the color of the sauce, it was just I won't even describe what color brown it was, but it wasn't the dark brown in the picture.
Yeah, might want to have a look at the recipe again.
I think my biggest challenge was actually going to Waitrose and finding most of the ingredients, because there were things I'd never even heard of before, and I was just going around going, have you got any of this? And even they didn't know. So
no. Awesome, Mr. Moriarty.
I will be back in a couple of weeks with Jackie anyway, but yes, otherwise I'll keep bubbling away in the background doing stuff.
All right, thanks, Rob. All right, we're going to wrap it up for today, everybody. Thank you for joining us. And of course, always a thank you to the cast who came and performed the script. That was always a delight. And also, Amy G has her Sid Talk.
Yes, tomorrow noon Eastern Standard Time, convert time as needed. And it's about Broadway musicals.
Fantastic. How do you always look so healthy? Ridiculous.
What?
You always look so healthy. It's like glowing. Really amazing.
Moisturize, I guess.
Oh yeah, there you go. Even in that dim as light.
Oh gosh. Have a great weekend.
Have a lovely weekend, everyone.